Hindu classes of society and how does ISKCON fit into that picture? Well, everyone knows that over the past few thousand years, only in Kali Yuga has casteism become such a problem with a great deal of discrimination, exploitation, cruelty, and so forth. But that's not the real concept. This is due to poor fund of knowledge, only in Kali Yuga, this age of darkness that we're in right now. Because real knowledge means to understand that we are all eternal servants of God. Casteism. Now, the concept comes originally from the pure form. So what we have today is a perverted form of casteism. Brahmins, especially in South India, we see, but everywhere in India and wherever there are Indians around the world, the conception of a Brahmin. But they are not fundamentally superior to other human beings unless they can demonstrate superior activities by simply wearing a sacred thread and reciting some mantras and prayers. That doesn't make them basically superior to others. They have to live the teachings of the scripture. Otherwise, they are not bona fide. They can dress like a Brahmin, they can chant mantras, they can chant prayers, they can do puja, can do all these things, but if their private life is degraded and not in accordance with the scripture, then they're not actually Brahmins. So Brahmins are supposed to be the head of society. That means the most intelligent class that are dedicated to pure religious principles, Sanatana Dharma, and live by them, exemplary. Now in the Bhagavad Gita, 4 classes of people are described. Chatavarnyam Mayashchistam Gunakarma Vibhagasha. That human society is meant to be divided according to guna and karma, according to qualities and activities. So there are divisions in society that are natural, but in Kali Yuga, in this age, everything becomes perverted. As we've discussed, the Brahmins become spoiled and many of them become outright rascals and cheaters, mainly interested in accumulating money, etc. Some are wine drinking, some are meat eating, many of them are cigarette smoking. You know, they're eager to smoke some bidis and hold out their hand, bashish, you know, give us some donation to, and some of them are even womanizers. So the Brahmins in this age, pure Brahmins in this age, are very, very rare. Then there's the Kshatriya class. That is natural that in human society there are warriors. In modern society we see that there are some people, some humans, who are inclined towards being the warrior class. From Nepal, for example, they are descended from pure Kshatriyas since thousands of years ago. So they often become police in the modern world, or they become soldiers in the modern world, and they're very good at it. For example, the British, they hired the Nepalese to be their warriors, their soldiers by which they conquered all over Asia especially, because the Nepalese were the best warriors, and other classes of men also were the best warriors. So that was their speciality, fighting. So Kshatriya is bona fide. But in the modern age, again, everything has become degraded because we see nations are keeping armies by which they just attack other nations out of greed without pure dharma, without pure religion. But Kshatriyas are meant to preserve dharma. What is dharma? What is the duty of human society? That is supposed to be given by the pure Brahmins. And the execution or the enforcement of these pure religious rules and regulations, standards, that is supposed to be maintained by the Kshatriyas or the warrior class. They used to not be sentimental, as now all over the world the politicians and have become sentimental. But actually, previously the Kshatriya class, they themselves had to follow religious principles and enforce them. So Kshatriyas or warriors is a bona fide division of society, of Kshatriya. Then Vaishya means mercantile class. Well, today we have got the mercantile class all over the world. That's not a problem. And those that are inclined towards making money, they belong to the mercantile class. We have no problem with that. But once again, they are supposed to act under religious principles. For example, one who is making money, however they are making money, selling goods and so forth, they are supposed to donate a portion of their income according to their means to support devotional service to God. If they do not do like that, then they incur karma, or sinful reactions come. So the mercantile class is also bona fide, or Vaisyas, but they should be according to religious principles or they become contaminated. Nowadays, many of the mercantile class, they're not actually pure Vaisyas, or they have degenerated their Sudra. Sudra means that is the fourth class, generally laboring class, and those that are not very well under control of religious principles. So the scripture says, Kalua Sudra Sambhava, that in this age of Kali everyone is born Sudra. So Sudra is considered low class, not to be discriminated against in any kind of cruelty, laws discriminate against them. We are opposed in Krishna consciousness to casteism, certainly. For example, in South India, there's the class called the Dalits. They are considered to be untouchable. Now, the Brahmins in South India, they put the deity on chariots and they pull the deity through the streets. But they will not allow the Dalits to touch the ropes pulling the chariot because they consider them to be untouchable. This is abominable. This is hellish concoction. There's nothing to support this kind of discrimination in the scripture. So there was a lawsuit filed by the Dalits in the court, and the Dalits won the case. Still, they would not surrender their so-called Brahmin priests. Here we have an example of false Brahmins because they do not know the Siddhanta or the conclusion of the scripture. False Brahmins, though they may be very expert at puja, mantra, tantra, and all these things, but actually they are deviating from the Vedas because they're cruel. You see, an actual Brahmin can never be cruel, never. So they refused, even after court order, they disobeyed the court order and did not allow the Dalits to pull the chariot. Whereas in ISKCON society is based on the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the combined incarnation of Radha and Krishna, golden avatar, who appeared 525 years ago approximately. And his teachings is to be kind to everyone and not to discriminate. In fact, his Namacharya, his most advanced chanter of the holy name, was Hare Thakur. Hare Thakur was born a Muslim. But Mahaprabhu did not discriminate against him. He accepted him as his most beloved, intimate associate, based on pure Krishna consciousness, based on Bhakti, pure prema, love of Godhead. Nothing to do with casteism. So we are very strongly opposed to casteism in the modern sense that involves discrimination and exploitation. All of our temples are open to every type of person. Many poor people come to our temples. A so-called untouchable person would never be barred from many of our temples. Furthermore, everyone is allowed to pull the ropes on our chariots when the incarnation of God, known as Jagannath, or Lord of the Universe, is pulled through the streets. All over the world we have got these Jagannath Rath Yatra festivals. And anyone and everyone are allowed to pull those ropes. Muslims, Christians, Jews, atheists, anyone can do like that. And in the West there are no Dalits, but wherever we put these chariots and pull the Supreme Lord in his chariot enjoying mood, there's absolutely no discrimination. So we are strongly opposed to the perverted, mundane conception of casteism. However, we support Varnashram Dharma, the four divisions of society as given by Krishna himself or God himself in the Bhagavad Gita. So the business of human life is to establish properly the four orders of life in a pure way, but not in a pure, perverted way as we see in modern society. Hare Krishna.